Let's look at something interesting in human performance, and it's going to center around nature and how it impacts our nervous system. I wrote right here, a healthy ecosystem can adapt and flow with and through disturbance. When I'm talking about us as an ecosystem within the ecosystem, I'm talking about the nervous system. When you take a look at this picture, these are all climates that exist in our world. Clearly, we can live within all these climates, but can we perform within them? And that becomes really important, because I think one of the things we're looking at modernly right now is we're doing a lot of biohacking, which is totally fine. But we are either connected to nature or we are hacking our way back. So when you look at these 6 modalities, which are very common, they're really just connected to nature. We're trying to replicate what exists in the natural world. And so why are we doing that? I think it's because we intuitively know our connection to the environment. And when we are performers, this is about human performance, when we are performers, especially as we climb up the ranks, we are asked to travel, right? This becomes the disturbances, because anytime we travel, the biology is going to be toyed with, but it's also going to be experiencing environmental disturbances. So each change in the environment is going to impact the sensory system. These are going to work as feedback loops, both to the physiology and the psychology. So anyone in business, music, sports, anyone who travels to perform, this becomes really crucial for you to understand about where you're headed, right? And here you just look at what are some of the disturbances that you're probably for sure going to experience. Time zone changes, climate changes, elevation changes, timing of the performance. Is it at night? Is it during the day, right? This is somewhat outdated. I was studying this in 2022, looking at with professional sports teams, specifically in baseball. And this had everything to do with the loudest and most populated cities in America. So from highest to lowest. At the time, New York City was the loudest and it was the most populated. And it just kind of works its way through the system. This is light pollution. So anytime we are consumed with artificial light, which happens within cities, clearly people who are traveling and changing the degree of light pollution, it disrupts the biological clock. So your circadian rhythm is going to be impacted by that, which has a cascade of effects. But clearly, we're focusing on the nervous system. This was the most polluted cities in America. This was 2022, and I believe there was some science or some data that came out around there about quarterbacks who played in poor air quality cities actually threw more interceptions. I believe that was one of the things you guys can look into and check me on that. But this is the meat of this thought. Okay, so this is a 3-series road trip record of the San Francisco Giants from 2015 to 2022. The reason why the Giants are really cool to study, because them and the Mariners have the most mileage traveled each year in Major League Baseball. And so every time the Giants go and play 3 road series, so they're going to go play 3 different teams on the road. The 3rd series, their overall record in this course of time was 32-41. Right? They're 9-15 in game 1, right? That's important. We'll come back to that. Then you look at the Detroit Tigers. They're good to watch as well, because they travel half the length of the San Francisco Giants and the Seattle Mariners. So they're not traveling as many mileage, but you can clearly see, and this is the whole series. This is all 3 teams that they would have played against. You can see that basically from 2016 to 2024, so similar window, they're still losing that entire road trip, 81 and 114 clip. So that's a 415 winning percentage. And this becomes really important to understand, because clearly the environmental disturbances is having impact on these professional sports teams' performances. And to just shorten this thought up, and what is one of the main things we can study, one of the main things we can understand about this, what's the lowest hanging fruit? In my opinion, it's respiration. Because our breathing is the one part of the nervous system that lives unconscious, so it's going to be impacted by the unconscious environment around us, the disturbances around us. That's the one thing we can make conscious. So when we notice impacts in our breath, when we change time zones, climate changes, air quality, et cetera, it gives us agency to be able to flow and adapt within the disturbances. And we'll talk more about that in future segments, but that's where we're going to pause for now. And consider your breathing with the environment as you change states, and how is that reflecting you physiologically and psychologically.